Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the week 4 of the AWS Cloud Bootcamp. It's a pleasure to meet every one of you once again. It's an exciting week, and this weekend we are going to be covering VPCs, we're going to be covering subnets, and we're going to also be covering gateways. All right. So we have our instructor on the call with us. Shortly, I'm also going to introduce her. I'll just go through a few housekeeping items and then we will get started with today's section. So, good having everyone here. I do see people are on chat, so they're active, they are ready to get started with this. Okay, yes, I've seen people have also been enjoying all the sections so far. So welcome. Um, Feel free, right? If you have questions during the sections, our instructor at intervals would also be taking questions. We'll pick a few questions from the audience. We also do have the CSN circle. We have Discord. You can always go ahead to ask questions. I've seen a lot of communication happening over there, and it has really been awesome. So keep on communicating, keep on helping each other. That's really what we do expect. Okay, all right. So let's get a few things sorted out. Most of you should already have this curriculum. As you can see, this is the week 4, where we are going to be building a secure and scalable AWS network using VPCs, subnets, and also routing controls. And after this, and the next section, which would also be another brilliant section, we'll be going into containerization. So some of you are familiar with what a container is. We'll go into that in the next section. But this we're wanting to lay the fundamentals of what does it mean to set up a secure network environment in the cloud. What does it mean to set up a secure network in the cloud? So we're going to go through that, and our instructor is going to take us through all that. That's awesome. So this is the part 2. We'll get to that very shortly. And just to reiterate one more time, it's almost becoming tiring at this point, but just for the sake of people that are joining at different intervals, so it can really um, sink in for them, right? So we are going to be giving access to LMS and mentorship, right, to participants that complete the bootcamp, right? And completion is very simple. We're going to be having weekly tasks, and at the end of week 10, some participants in the communities have helped to reiterate this to people that maybe are just joining. At the end of week 10, that's when we're going to provide a one-time submission form. So we don't want participants to go through the stress of having to keep up with submitting the tax every single week. All these sections are all recorded. Okay, so you can always go back to them and revisit them. You can always go back to them and revisit them. Very important. Okay. In addition to this, we also definitely will not be allowing for late submissions. That is very important so that we can keep the program organized. Moving forward, all you need to do to submit a task will just be to provide a PDF or a zip document, and then you're good. Provide that PDF or zip document, and then you're good. Okay, shortly. Okay, this is the tax for week 4. I'm going ahead of myself, so I'm not going to go ahead of go to the tax for week 4. I will just take a pause a bit. Okay, I can see everybody is settled in so far. I've already addressed some of the questions that we do have. Let me just take a few minutes to just quickly look at everything. All right. Okay, let's proceed. So I've seen some questions. So yes, people are saying that we need to submit straight after week 10. Yes, absolutely. So you just compile all your evidences together. With all your evidences compiled together, just go ahead and submit that. Someone is asking, um, yes, it's free. My instances were stopped after the class. Yes, just take a screenshot. Once you create an instance, take a screenshot. Keep that screenshot for when it's due for submission. So now, also, people have been asking about the credits. We've sent a form to people. I'm also making that form available here. But take note, this is for people that might be watching the video maybe tomorrow, next, right? This link is going to expire. We are almost hitting capacity. in terms of the number of people that we are going to be able to provide credit for. We are actually not even the ones providing the credit. We're working with an AWS partner to do this. So as much as possible, if you have not applied, today is going to be the deadline. Um, we'll send these links to people that are reaching out to us through email. But then this is also made available to everyone. It's only for people that don't have the free tier. Maybe they have more or less created accounts or something and in the past and they've passed the free tier, so they need some credits to continue with the section. So this is only for those kind of persons. All right, so it's going to end today. We're going to wrap it up so that we can manage all the people that we do have on board and ensure that if they need to do anything, it favors businesses. But if you need to do anything to allow you to get this credit, we're willing to also support you. Okay, I think that's it. Let's dive right in. We're almost there, so I will just go ahead and introduce our instructor so that we can dive into today's section. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. So I'm soon going to hand over to her, but we do have like um, a very mighty person in our midst. We have Paula Wakabi. She's an AWS certified cloud and DevOps engineer. She's also an AWS community builder and the leader of the AWS user group too as well. She's also the founder of Women in Cloud Africa and holds an MBA in strategic management with deep expertise in Terraform, Linux, multi-cloud environments. Um, sh- Paula is passionate about optimizing cloud resources to drive business value. So it's I'm excited to have her here. We're definitely going to be learning a lot. Um, she's actually fluent in both English and French and is a strong advocate for inclusive cloud education across Francophone Africa. And yes, she supports young graduates, aspiring cloud professionals, helping them navigate their career paths. As I mentioned, she's the founder of Women in Cloud Africa. So feel free to reach out to her. You can just take this name, search on LinkedIn, find her, connect with her. Right, you might also just talk through a bit of how people can also connect with her. Connect also with Women in Cloud Africa. Right, it's brilliant having her here on the call with us. So that's good. I would also just thank everyone once again for joining so that we can get things started. I don't see any questions that need immediate attention, so I will hand over to our instructor for today to take us through cloud networking on AWS. Thank you so much, Paula.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for this introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It's afternoon from my end. And I'm super excited to be here today, and I just hope that everybody's going to learn from what I have to share with you today. So, as you all know, I'm going to talk about setting up a secure AWS network. So, I decided to skip the introduction part because I think Emmanuel has already said everything. So, let me just go straight to the point. So, we are going to talk about setting up a secure AWS network. We all know how important networking and security is, especially when it comes to the cloud computing, because people don't really trust those things because they don't really know where their resources are going and all that. So it is really, really an important topic, and it's one of the confusing topics that exist in the entire AWS computing platform. So let me just move into the next step. All right. So what exactly are we going to learn today? So first of all, we are going to learn how to create a custom VPC. So you're not going to just get the straightforward one where you just create all the resources at once. We are going to customize our VPC. And then you get to understand the difference between the private and the public subnet. Then you also learn how to use NAT gateways, internet gateway, how to configure your route tables, and of course, it's going to be a demo. And if you have an AWS account and you are ready with your account and everything, you can also follow while I do the demo. And at the end of the session, I'm going to talk a little bit about some best practices when it comes to VPC and networking. All right, so why do you need a network security in the cloud? So first of all, you know that there's this thing called shared responsibilities with AWS. And when it comes to shared responsibilities, AWS is the one handling the security of the cloud. So everything that has to do with infrastructures and everything, AWS is the one handling it. And you are the one in charge of whatever you bring into the cloud. So whatever resource you are bringing in, the configuration that needs to be done, you are the one in charge of it. So you need to ensure that your configurations are right, your security is very tight, and this will actually help you how do I say, even save money because when these things are not done properly, it will end up leading to a lot of vulnerabilities, creating a lot of loopholes in the system. And at the end of the day, you might end up losing money because maybe you have to hire someone else to come into the job, or you might have maybe like people having access to, or notarized people having access to the platform, which we that's not what you want. And the good part with this whole thing is that when everything is set perfectly, you save costs, you have peace of mind because you know that your infrastructure is very secured and scalable as well. So before I proceed to the next one, I would like to know if there is anyone here that's already created a custom VPC. So I'll be checking. I like to see a lot of yes. So just drop a yes if you have created your own VPC before. All right. I want to see a lot of yes. Okay. All right. I'm also seeing a lot of no's. That's great. Okay, for those that have not created their own VPCs, we are going to learn how to do that today, and we are going to do it step by step. So get your notebook ready so that we dive into it. So first of all, VPC stands for Virtual Private Network. It's a that's more like your own isolated space in the AWS platform. So I don't know if I can share this. All right. Is it very visible? Like, can you guys see it very well? All right. So this is how the architecture of what we are going to work on today. This is how it looks, and I was trying to explain VPC. So in this entire AWS region, the AWS accounts, let me put it like that. This is where your VPC is. So this is your space. This is where you will be creating all your resources, your private and public subnets, and all the other configuration that needs to be done. Everything that you'll be doing in the AWS console needs to be done within this. All right. So we'll be also talking about subnets, how to understand the public and the private subnets, how they function. And then we also look at internet gateways and NAT gateways as well. Then at the end, we'll configure our route tables. Then you also understand how these configurations work for both public and private subnets. So this architecture is straightforward. So I think I've already explained this partially. So we are going to create a VPC. That's just one basic VPC. And then after creating those VPCs, we are going into creating our subnets, the route tables, internet gateway, and even our NAT gateway. And then you see how you allow your public subnets to have access to the internet through the NAT gateway. All right. So for this demo, as I explained already, we are going to create a VPC and all that, so you can just view it from here. And then after all the configuration is done, we are going to launch our EC2 instance to make sure that everything is well configured, and then we can test it as well. And then we can test it as well to ensure that like our EC2 is working, and then it is ready for use. So I hope this is clear so far. And yeah, I can see some people sharing some more information on this in the chat. That's great, thank you. So from here, I'm going to share my AWS console. So after doing that, please moderator help me get it on live. All right, I think we are good now. Can you guys see my screen? I guess it is a yes. All right. So let me just proceed. Okay. So I'm just assuming that everybody's comfortable with this interface, because this is not the first session. So I'm just going to skip the moving around the console. So we are going straight into our VPC. So you know how to find it. It's either you search it here, search it from here, or since I have it displayed here, I'm just going to click on it. Then we are going to create our VPC here. And since I was mentioning it at the beginning, we are going to create just the VPC. So let's give it a name. Let me call it test VPC. And then I'm going to use this range. And so we don't need any other information here. We are going to leave everything as it is here, and then you just click on to create VPC. Now, because we want to be viewing everything that we'll be doing in our VPC, like all the resources that you'll be creating in our VPC, we'll be selecting the VPC from here. So you can see the test VPC here. Let's select it. And then we can now proceed into creating the other resources. So the next thing we are going to create here is our subnet. So let's click on create subnet. So I mentioned earlier as well that whatever you're going to create here needs to be within our VPC. So we are going to select our VPC. So the first subnet we are going to create is going to be our public subnet. So let me just call it public test subnet. And just for testing purposes, we are going to use this availability zone. And with the IP version for subnet CIDR block, we are going to give it this. So let me even make this, yeah, right. So let me proceed. So we are already done with the public subnet. So we've given it a CIDR block, and now we need to create also our private subnet. So let me click here on add a new subnet. So let me call it private Private test subnet. Alright, I'm going to choose the same availability zone, and let me also give it a side block. Alright, so once we are done with this, you can see this is already the tag that your subnet will be coming with. So at this juncture, we are done with our subnet. So let's just click on create subnet. So once this is done, we can go into subnet to check if our resources have been successfully created. Okay, okay. People are asking questions. All right. Let me be checking the chat. Once I move to the AWS console, I'm not able to see the chat. So sorry for that. Okay, so I don't know if these people just join the call. What we are creating is a fully functional VPC, and we have already created the big one, which is the VPC. And now we are creating the other components that are going to make our VPC fully functional. Okay, is this okay so far? So a VPC is just your virtual private cloud. That's your space where you'll be having all your resources in the cloud. So that's your private space. This is the let me move back into my slides. Moderator, I don't know if you can bring back the slide into spotlight so that. All right. So this is what we are trying to replicate here. I hope everyone sees it. Do you guys see my screen? The difference between the private and the public subnet, this is something that I've planned talking about when I go into the route tables so that I can clearly show you the differences. All right, so up to this point, is everyone okay? Can I move on? All right. So let me go back. Somebody said he wants me to go back through the components. So these are the components. So you're going to have a VPC. That's the space that allows you to provision your own virtual network. So after creating our virtual private cloud, the next thing we need to do is to create subnets. So subnets are just ranges of IP addresses within um, your VPC, and there are two different types: the public and the private. The public one is where you'll be keeping resources that you want people to access, or you want to have the resources that need maybe to have access to the internet. And the private one is the one that um, where you'll be keeping resources such as your databases. You don't want people to be accessing those things over the internet. Is it okay now? Can I move? So first of all, before we go into a real life scenario with the VPC and all the resources, you need to have a VPC. Every resource that you are provisioning into the AWS cloud needs to be within the VPC. It's true that if the your AWS account comes with a default VPC, but you don't know all the configurations that it comes with. So that's why it is recommended to have your own VPC, so that you know the kind of and configurations you have done. All right. So after creating our subnet, we are now going into internet gateway. Why do we need an internet gateway? We need an internet gateway in order to communicate with the internet. And you only use internet gateway with the public subnet. So you use it in order to allow the public subnet to have access to the internet. But when it comes to the private subnet, you need to use a NAT gateway. And we are going to see how we create both and how to configure the two of them. Because you're not going to put your database, for instance, into a public subnet. It's supposed to be inside a private subnet. Is that okay? All right. So, in order for you, okay, all right. So let me proceed. So, in order for you to configure the connection, the VPC, the internet gateway connection, you need to use something called route table. So when you create your route table, you need to now attach it to your VPC and then like do some kind of configuration. When you get there, you all see and you understand better. All right. So okay, somebody saying that I'm echoing. I think it's because I'm using an empty hall, so probably that's it. But I hope it is manageable. Alright, so I'm going to proceed. I'll go back into the AWS console. So already we have created our VPC and we have created the, how is it called? Our subnet. So remember, we created two subnets because you are not going to put all your resources in one subnet, since the two subnets do not have the same purpose. So from here, I'm going to go back into, from here, I'm going back into my console. If there's anything that you're not understanding, just drop it in the chat, and I'll pause for a while and then go through the comments. All right. So let me refresh this. Okay. So you can see the two subnets that we created. So we have the private and the public subnet. Now, after creating our subnet, the next thing we need to create is our internet gateway. So you remember what I said? In order for your public subnet to have access to the internet, you need to create an internet gateway. It has to be done through an internet gateway. So we are going to create the internet gateway. So just click on create internet gateway, give it a name. So let me just call it this, and that's it. Just click on create internet gateway. And you see it is pretty straightforward. So once it is done, you can either just click here on attach um, to a VPC, or you can decide to just close it and then go into actions and then click on attach to a VPC. Then you select the VPC to which you want to attach it. So you want to attach the internet gateway first to our VPC. Alright, so it's already done, meaning we are done with our internet gateway. When you look at the architecture I displayed earlier on, we had an internet gateway and we had also route tables. So now the next thing we are going to move into is creating our route tables. But before I do that, let me see if there are questions in the chat. Okay, let me proceed. So we are going to create our route table. So you remember what I said earlier on about route tables? We use it in order to connect our internet gateway into our public subnet. So we are going to create the first one, which is for our public subnet. We will definitely create a next one for the private subnet, but I don't want to go there yet. So let's do this first one first. When we are done with configuring the one for the public subnet, we now move into configuring the second one, which is for the private subnet. So this is the route table. So let's go into create route table. So let me just call it public test route. Then, as usual, we need to select our VPC. So this is basically it. So we just click on create a route table. Now, once that is done, let's check first if our route table is fully created. Yeah, so we have it here. So from here, let's just select it. I think because of the zoom, I'm not able to see everything. All right. So when you click on the route table's ID, this is what you get. And then from here, you're going to click on edit route. Just pay note, edit route is right on the route here. So you click on edit route and it brings you here. So we want our public subnet to have access to the internet. So what we need to do is when you click on add route here, you need to select this one, which says you need to, this is the default one for public how do I say? That's like for allowing access to the internet or allowing access from anywhere. And then our target is going to be our internet gateway. So we have internet gateway here. After selecting internet gateway, you need to now select the internet gateway that you have created. So we already have our internet gateway created, so we are going to select it. Alright, so once that is done, you need to click on save changes. Now, after editing this route, the next thing you need to do with the public route table is to now associate it with the subnet, which is the public subnet. So first of all, we created our route table, and then after creating the route table, we needed to have a route where we'll be attaching our internet gateway, and then after that, we need to associate that to our subnet. So let's click on subnet association and click on edit subnet association. So you want to connect this to our public subnet. Remember, the internet gateway is the one that is connected to the public subnet. Or let me say, you use internet gateway together with the public subnet in order for you to have access to the internet. So let me select public subnet here and click on save associations. So at this point, our public subnet is fully configured. So even if we don't, how do I say, without doing any other configuration at this point, if you say we want to maybe launch an instance or provision any kind of resource in our VPC, we can go ahead and do it once we want that resource to be publicly accessed or for it to be in our public subnet. Okay, so if you were having other instances previously, you can just check them here. So from here, let's just launch our instance. Let me just call it test instance. And here, because I want to remain within the free tier range, so I'm going to use an Ubuntu AMI, which is within the free tier range. And then let's scroll down. I will leave this as it is. I'm going to create key pairs. So already with the key pairs, what you need to know is when you're creating a key pair, the moment you do that, the private one is the one that's going to get downloaded, and the public one will be remained here. It will remain here. This is the one you'll be seeing on the screen. So let me just let me call it. Uh-oh. All right. So let me leave everything as it is, and once I create it, it's going to be downloaded. So this one is the private one. So the one I have downloaded is the private key pairs. And then what you are seeing here is the public one. So you can see it here, or the public keys that you have. All right. So now let's move into the network settings. Let's select our VPC. Since we have a new VPC and we are trying to see how it works, so let's select the test VPC. And then we want to have our EC2 inside our our public subnet. So we're going to select the public subnet. Okay, we are going to enable this because we want to have we want to SSH into our EC2 instance. So we'll be using the IP address for that. Let's also create a new security group. Okay. All right. So with this, the security group rules, we are going to leave this as it is because, as I mentioned, we are going to SSH into our instance. So we want to have access to it from anywhere. We want to have access to the internet, this and that. So let's leave everything else as it is. We don't need to go into the advanced network configuration. We don't need it at this moment. For the storage, this is okay. So this is the number of EC2. If you wanted to launch maybe more than that, you can just uh, change the number. So basically, if you have missed maybe any session on how to launch an EC2 instance, this is just a quick recap. Let me just click on launch an instance. So once the instance is being launched, let me be checking if there are more questions. Alright, so this is our instance here. You can see that it is running, but it is still initializing. So let's wait for the checks to be 2 over 2. Then we can now try and test to see if we can access our instance. Okay, so we can see that it has passed the checks. So we have 2 over 2 here. So let's now try to connect to our instance. Okay, so for the sake of time, let me just use the SSH Connect. So from here, let's go into SSH client. Let's copy this, and then let me run this into my CMD. So right now we are inside our EC2 instance. So you can see it here. All right, so this means that our VPC is fully functional. Our public subnet is okay. All right, so thank you guys for your attention, and sorry for moving too fast. So the moderator, I think if you're here, thank you.
All right, yes, thank you so much, Paula, for this. We very do much appreciate, and thanks for this section. So would just recommend that everyone is able to go ahead and um, rewatch this section. Also, as well, leverage as much additional resources as you can leverage. Um, in this section to guide you through. Okay, very important. We would also try as much as possible to make the slides for this available. I think this will be dropped on the Discord, so we can as well leverage that to um, practice better, just to get a better understanding. So it's easy, seamless for us to as well. So yes, the slides are going to be made available. In addition to this, we'll just walk quickly through the tax for week 4, actually. We'll walk through the tax for week 4, and based on what you've learned so far, also based on additional learning resources. So it's more like a situation where it may also be 1.1 and 1 plus 1, and then the assessment or the tax is then um, x plus y or x equals to y. But then this tax would help you to get a bit more access into this for you to like learn more. All right. So before I also proceed to go into the details, I would also be sharing the handle for the instructor. So you can as well just reach out to her to connect with her. Very important. Um, just putting that in shortly. So please feel free to reach out to her. I've dropped it. You'll see a comment. Connect with her. If you also just go on LinkedIn and just search for Paula, Ali, and Wakabi as well, you would also see that, see her name pop up. So feel free to go ahead and connect with her. Also, as when you connect with her, you would get more details. You'd see also what also company page too as well to get more details about what they do. All right. So yes, thank you. So quickly through the over the tax. The tax for this week, what you would simply need to do is to create two separate VPCs. This might sound complicated, but take your time and go through it. Create two separate VPC. This is in what we're trying to do here is to simulate a multi VPC architecture. Once you create those two VPCs, the first one can be named maybe demo A, VPC A, and this should have a CIDR block of 10.10.10.10.0.0/16. And then the second one should have a CIDR block of 10.20.0.0/16. Then now in each VPC, I would recommend that you go ahead to create one public subnet, one private subnet. Our instructor has taken us through that, and then attach an internet gateway to them. You don't necessarily need, okay, you don't even need to attach an internet or NAT gateway to them. So what we're simply trying to establish is VPC to VPC communication. So no need for gateways at this point because the primary use of gateways is to enable internet access. But what we want to do is to enable VPC to VPC communication. So once you do that, our instructor also took us through route tables, enabled ensure that the VPC connections VPC peering connection is active, and then you go ahead to update your route tables. Okay, once you've done that, you can test it out, but all you need to do to complete is to take screenshots of the console showing the two VPCs and the CIDR blocks, also showing the public and the private subnets in each VPC, and also showing the VPC pairing connection in active status as mentioned, and also showing the route tables. Once you do that, we are able to get the task completed. So thank you everyone for joining today. I see a quite number of comments. Yes, people also mentioning that they do understand. So let's thank our instructor for the time. It's much appreciated. If you have questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask the questions on any of the groups that we do have. You can ask either on both on Discord or also on WhatsApp. Yes, I can see comments. Thank you, Paula. So yes, thank you so much a lot for this section. Very, we do appreciate. So nothing else. The section does not end here. Next week we're going to be covering containerized services. It's also going to be an interesting one, especially for people that in today's world is a lot of applications, right, that we're running, and most of these applications are now running as containers. So it's good for you to understand how to deploy containers. So that'll be all. Thanks everyone for joining this section. We're also trying to keep this very short, also for people rewatching, so you can just go and straight right into what you need to get from this particular section. So have a lovely weekend, everyone. See you next time.